Hey everybody, how's it going? It's John Powers at Powers Drummer. I'm here at Crunk Bucket Studios today. I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk about replacing a snare drum head for your snare drum. So I'm rocking the Apex Sledgehammer brass hand hammered snare. Love it. Love how loud it is. I love the attack that it gets. It sounds excellent, and it sounds even better with a brand new Remo controlled coated head. As you can see, this one's kinda struggling right now. It's taken quite a beating over the last couple months. So I'm gonna replace that real quick. I got a brand new 14-inch controlled sound from Remo. I'm gonna pop this on and just do a quick replacement here. So first thing you want to do, have the snare on. Pop all these lugs off. So 14-inch snare by 6.5 inches deep. But definitely packs a lot of volume. 10 lugs on this snare. You don't really need much to do this. All you need is the snare itself, new drum head, drum key, and I like to have a towel as well to kind of give everything a cleaning once we open it up. I've had this snare for about, I bought it for my birthday for myself in July, I want to say 19, so I think a couple of years, and it's been great. I've played maple snares, I've played aluminum. The first snare was a Ludwig aluminum growing up. I played maple, I played aluminum, brass. I just love the attack that this snare has given me. Just so powerful in a mix, and haven't been able to play a live show with it yet, but I'm sure that once that happens, it'll really just cut through an entire room. Sound awesome. A lot of the times with this snare too, I got some moon gel over here. A lot of the times I like to throw a little moon gel on it. You kind of just probably see where the old one was, right there. Kind of just stick it on there, and it just kind of dampens the snare a little bit. I feel like it probably kills some of those high frequencies that I'm not looking for. I do love the attack and just the rage of this instrument, but I feel like it does need a little, I enjoy to kind of muffle it a little bit, or just kind of bring it down just a tad, especially as a drummer who is rim shotting a lot. I feel like it really helps balance everything out. Alright, keep these all together. Pop this off. I will save this old snare head, 'cause it's still okay. I mean, it's not great, but in the event that I put a stick through the new one and I need an emergency backup, I'll hold on to this as long as that one's in rotation, and then when the new one gets old, that'll be my backup. So we'll hold on to this guy. I usually take him and throw him, a nice little trick, throw it in the box of the new head. I'll store this close by. Again, I do like these controlled sounds. On the back of these Remo heads, it's really nice. It shows you all the different types of heads they have: the Diplomat, Ambassador, the Emperors. I actually use the vintage Emperor coated on my toms. I use as of now, I've been using the control sound Here it just says tone, warm and focused, medium sustain, extended durability, especially as a hard player like myself. Durability is super important. So, pop this over here. Alright, so taking a look inside here, gives you kind of a little sneak preview of seeing what the Mapex sledgehammer looks like. Again, brass, hand hammered. It's quite beautiful, and it's pretty clean. I try to clean it out every time. Put a new head on. Bottom head's in pretty good shape. I tend to replace this less frequently. As you can see, I still actually have the factory on there because it's got the Mapex logo. And that's a Remo Ambassador on the snare side. That's in good shape for now. Everything looks pretty clean in here, honestly. A lot of the times it's mostly just the top rim that I want to wipe out. Make sure there's no like stick debris. I've broken a few sticks over the last couple months, and all the chips that go along with it. Make sure none of that's collecting up in the drum, you know, diminishing the sound. We don't want it to do that. Looks pretty good in here. Again, I've done a pretty good job maintaining it. Put that to the side for a second. The rim, definitely want to give a wipe. Dust, debris, get rid of all that. Cool. Next thing I want to do, I want to take the Remo controlled sound head, kind of break it in a little bit. Hear that? It's all like the glue. I want to just kind of break that all up a little bit. Break it in a little. Cool. All right. Now for aesthetics, I mean, so usually I like to have I'm sitting at the kit. Usually I like to have my snare switch off and on, kind of to like the top right over there. That way I can kind of avoid it with my right knee when I'm playing on the kick drum. If it's too much kind of centered, sometimes my knee can take a beating and I bruise up. So I'll probably kind of sit somewhere in this. This is kind of how the snare will sit facing me. I'll have the snare trigger up in this corner. So I'm kind of going to place that down relative to that. That's how I'll place my head. I like to have my Remo logo, again, just for aesthetics, kind of facing on the top, relative to where the snare will sit. Pop the rim back on. I also like to give these a quick wipe, each of the lugs here. So you see it's just basic lug with this plastic kind of buffer that sits between the rim and the lug, so to prevent from cracking. Pop these all on, give them a quick wipe. I've played smaller snares over the years, like in depth, from a depth point of view, like piccolos and things like that. I believe I had a maple piccolo for a while. I just like the deeper snare drums, the big sound. I feel like my overheads capture them really well. And again, I think the brass I just love the sound. It's preference, you know. Some people like the brass, some people like the aluminum. Some people rock with the maple, which I did for a while too. This is kind of reminds me of like the Black Beauty Ludwig makes, but this is definitely probably I want to say like $400, $500 cheaper. Love to get a Black Beauty by Ludwig down the road. But this thing has been great for me so far. No complaints at all. Mapac's Black Panther Sledgehammer snare drum. 14 by 6.5. It's great. Alright, so once I have all the lugs on, I'm going to do a finger tighten. So I kind of always like to go across from each other. So we'll go this way. We'll go 2 over and do these 2. 2 over, do these 2. 2 over and do these 2. And 2 over and then do the last 2. And again, you want to just finger tighten these best you can so they won't go any further. And this is a good idea because if you finger tighten to start, you're probably going to get a nice even tension around the entire drum. 4, 5, and 6. Again, it's not a terribly long process. I just recommend doing it as often as it takes. Once you start to hear that sound kind of start to decline, or the head just really starts to get banged up, it's probably time to get a new one. 6, 7, 8. Shout outs to Swan Common, by the way. Great skateboarding company. Check them out on Instagram if you haven't yet. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm just gonna kind of go around individually. Give one last tighten. Alright, so I'm feeling like we have a pretty even tension around the head already. Again, I'm trying to keep going until I really can't go any further with my fingers. Finger tight. Not trying to get too OCD about it here, but just trying to get it good. Hear that head kind of already clicking in. The last of the glue kind of cracking. Once we kind of get there, already I'm going to give it a little sound. I'm going to turn the snare off just so we can kind of hear the drum itself. Stick here. Still pretty loose, but a good kind of foundation already. I'm going to go along with my fingers one more time. Let the head settle in a little bit. Pretty loose still though. Now we're starting to get a pitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with my key now. I'm going to do one full 180-degree turn from each spot on the drum. Now I'm going to work across, like I talked about earlier. Start with here, I'll go over here. Once I do those two, I'll jump ahead 2. I'll go across, 2, across, 2, across, 2, across. That'll kind of address the whole drum. So I'll start here, do 180-degree turn, 2, 1, 2. We're jumping over here, across, 1, 2. 1, 2. And 2. Definitely hear that drum starting to settle in. The head starting to settle in. So what kind of pitch we have here? Okay, we're getting there. Go around one more time. Two down, across, 2 down, across, 2 down, across, 2 down, across. Some good tension there now. Let's give that a listen. Okay, we're getting a nice high pitch here. Next thing I like to do is go around the heads of the drums in front of each lugs. Make sure we kind of have a similar pitch around each. So we kind of come about an inch out from each lug and kind of hear the tone. Try to find an even tone throughout the entire drum. This one's a little low here. That one's almost a little high, I think. Come back here. There's a little too much on this one. Come down a little bit. This one seems a little high. I'm gonna come down a little bit on this one. That one seems a little up there. High over here and over here. Just gonna take it down a little bit. Just turn the knob, loosen the lugs up a little bit. Now the thing is, a lot of overtones there, so it's a little tricky sometimes to kind of find that exact pitch that you're looking for. But just trying to find some uniformity within the entire head. Still a little high for me. that's not too bad. What I'd usually do at this point is take it back over to the kit, sit down, crack the snare on, hit it kind of at different volumes, and just kind of tighten it up a bit in terms of getting uniformity around the entire snare. But as you see, crank the snare back on. We're already in a pretty good place. I usually like to play a little tight. I usually like to have the snare kind of tight, you know, the lug's pretty tight, and kind of get that nice high pitch sounding snare. And then when it comes into the computer, when I start mixing it down, I really kind of focus on getting those bad higher frequencies out. A lot of the times I find like it's more middle frequencies, like in the 150, 60, 70, 80s that I'll have to kill on this particular drum. And by kill those frequencies, I mean kind of find the points, the frequencies that are kind of really boost them, and find the points that they're making, you know, unbearable sound basically, and drop those frequencies out of the entire EQ spectrum. So again, in that 150, 160, 170 range, I'll usually find it with this drum. But also I'll try to go up to there in the 1000, 2000 range, and pull some stuff out of there as well. I'll also kind of give like a little shelf boost in the low mid frequencies just to kind of beef it up a little bit, rolling off around 20 hertz and below. And I'll even sometimes roll off just up in the 5,000, 6,000, just because half those sounds aren't even audible to the human ear, and just kind of can be there when they don't need to be there, muddying the mix down and creating problems and not really adding anything to it. So again, pretty simple in terms of just getting this thing all set up. Probably took me about 10 minutes, taking my time. So again, if your snare is kind of sounding like it needs a freshen up, it probably needs a new head. Can't remember how much this head was, probably like 15 bucks, no more than 20. So definitely something you can do on the cheaper end to really maximize the sound quality of your snare drum. So thanks for tuning in again. Check me out if you haven't yet, at Powers Drummer on Instagram. I'm also on YouTube, John Powers Freelance Drummer. Check it out. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.